All right, let's talk about discipline today for a moment. How many times have we been in the trade and we promise ourselves, hey, we got to stick to our plan, only to find ourselves revenging, hopium, or whatever? And we tend to believe that discipline is a character trait. You either have it or you don't. But when it comes to neuroscience, it proves that thinking is completely wrong. Discipline isn't something you have or you don't, it's neurologically a muscle that you train. So in the last video, we learned how to trade or stop the amygdala hijack, and that was our defense. Today we're going on the offense, and I'm going to show you a PFC workout. It's just a 10-minute daily habit that will physically strengthen your brain's discipline center and will expose the chemical addiction that forces you to overtrade. So yeah, welcome back to the Neuro-Trader episode series. We know that the prefrontal cortex is the CEO of the brain and it's responsible to execute functions like impulse control and rational thought. And so if we look at the problem in our framework, PAR, which is the problem action result, the problem is that the PFC is metabolically expensive. It uses a ton of energy and it fatigues quickly. So the concept is also known as ego depletion and decision fatigue. So this has been heavily researched by many researchers, and every decision you make, every urge you resist burns fuel. So the action your brain takes when the PFC is tired is to conserve energy, and it will revert to the path of least resistance, the emotional impulsive limbic system, right? So when you start the day strong, by mid-morning, your discipline muscle is exhausted and you start taking impulse trades. And we need to make that muscle stronger before we even start trading. So how do we do this? The answer is backed by significant data. We need to incorporate mindfulness meditation. Now you might be skeptical, I get it. This is though a rigorous neurobiological conditioning, and this has been studied extensively at Harvard University using MRI scans and found that within 8 weeks of participants using mindfulness practice techniques, it changed the participants' brains. And they observed two critical things. One, the gray matter density literally increased, so more neuron connections in the prefrontal cortex. So this means that the discipline center of the brain got stronger. And second, they observed a decrease in the size and reactivity of the amygdala, which is the fear center. So that's two amazing things that can happen when you incorporate this. And the exact neurobiological shift we need is this, right? We need a stronger CEO running the ship, and this also will quiet the alarm systems that kind of freak us out when we're in a trade that goes against us. But how does it work? So mindfulness isn't just about having a clear mind. Actually, it's about training attention control. So the process is very simple, right? So you focus on your breath, and within seconds, our mind's going to wander. We want to check the chart. We're going to want to check whatever. And the moment you notice your brain has been wandering, you gently just bring it back to the breath. And that's the crucial moment. That's the crucial exercise. That's like doing a bicep curl for your PFC. You're practicing the exact skill for trading, recognizing an impulse, the wandering thought, and then choosing to bring it right back to the breath. And this action is simple. Again, it's just 10 minutes a day, ideally before the market opens. So, all right, okay, so strengthening the PFC is one part. Part two is understanding the chemical that actively sabotages it, which is, we know, dopamine. And the root cause of overtrading and FOMO is attached to dopamine many times. And so this problem, and there is a fundamental problem of understanding dopamine. Most people think you get the hit when you win the trade, when actually neuroscience research says that dopamine actually is about the anticipation of the reward, not the reward itself. It's the thrill of the unknown. So trading what is called the variable intermittent rewards, and in this exact same mechanism that makes slot machines so addictive. So your brain gets hooked on the action and not the outcome. And the result, as we all know, if you prioritize excitement over probability, Your brain's reward center craves that dopamine hit that comes from clicking the button. And here's the crucial realization: profitable trading should be boring. You've probably heard that before, but it really should be. If we're excited, we're likely activating the dopamine center of the brain and not the PFC. So, how do we break this addiction cycle to dopamine? We use two techniques. During your trading session, whether you're doing sim or real, it's recommended that you become hyper aware of your cravings. Notice the urge to check the P&L constantly. Notice the itch to move a stop. Notice the desire to enter a trade just because the market's moving. Log these in your cognitive journal. These are your dopamine triggers. And really what you're going to do is you're going to feel that urge to click. And what you want to do is you don't want to fight it, but you don't want to act on it either. You want to acknowledge it and say out loud, hey, this is a dopamine craving urge, urging me to overtrade. And cravings are like waves. They rise and they crest and then they inevitably fall. Research in addiction psychology shows that if you can ride the wave, in this case, urge surf, for around 90 seconds without acting, the intensity usually fades. And so this result is that you're going to break that automatic link between the craving and the action. And the final part that we really need to really master to become a top and trader is there's two things, right? Sleep is one of the most non-negotiable things that we have to make sure we take care of. When we sleep, there's a mechanism called glymphatic system, and it literally helps you clean out toxins that build up during the day. And more importantly, it shows that sleep deprivation significantly impairs the PFC and increases the activity of the amygdala. So if you're tired, you're basically neurologically predisposed to panic and likely going to wreck your account. The second part of this, obviously, is regular exercise. We've heard this probably a million times, but it literally, right, as we exercise, we burn off excess cortisol, the stress hormone. And second, the increase the production of a protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. So this BDNF is like a miracle grow for your brain. It's essential for neuroplasticity, the process of forming those new neural pathways we're trying to build. So we'll just quickly summarize here how to build a more disciplined brain. So start the PFC workout, 10 minutes of mindfulness, meditating daily, using an app or just search YouTube for a guided session. Second, conduct a dopamine audit. Identify your triggers during your next training session. Third, practice urge surfing. When the cravings hits, ride that wave for 90 seconds. And fourth, optimize our physiology. Prioritize sleep and activate so that we can activate all those positive things that I talked about before. In the next module, we'll do a deeper dive into the cognitive biases, the systematic errors in thinking about sabotage and how it sabotages our decisions. And we'll start with the most dangerous bias of all, loss aversion. Anyway, I hope that you enjoy this content, and I will make a video later this week. Take care.